Leaving the European Union would threaten jobs and put the UK's economy at risk. That's the warning from leaders of some of Britain's biggest companies, including Marks & Spencer, BT and Vodafone. But those campaigning to leave the EU have pointed out that two-thirds of the 100 largest listed companies in the UK, including Tesco and Sainsbury, did not back the letter. Our deputy political editor, James Landell, has more.
Remember this? Crowds of voters, jackets off, microphones on, jokes at the ready.
It's great to be here in Slough, where so many business... What?
Yes, campaigning has begun, but this year it's not his job that's on the line, but Britain's membership of the European Union, something that David Cameron thinks makes the UK stronger, safer and, yes, better off.
We will create more jobs, we'll create more livelihoods, we'll see more investment, we'll see more success for Britain. Why? Well, because we're part, inside the European Union, of the biggest free trade single market anywhere in the world.
Today, almost 200 of Britain's biggest firms, including 36 on the FTSE 100 index, published a letter warning that Brexit would put the economy at risk, arguing that business needs unrestricted access to the European market. We believe, they said, that leaving the EU would deter investment and threaten jobs. But two-thirds of FTSE firms didn't sign the letter, many keeping out of politics, others yet to make up their minds. Pro-Leave campaigners also said that leaving the EU would mean less red tape, easier trade deals with non-EU countries, and just as much investment coming to Britain as now.
Does anybody seriously think that the French president is going to say to his feisty farmers, you can't sell your wine, you can't sell your cheese, you can't sell your butter to Britain anymore? It is not going to happen. But what we will be able to do is forge free trade deals with China and India.
But his boss said the risks were real and firms were right to speak out. Isn't the era of business leaders telling the British people how to vote over?
This is not business leaders telling people how to vote. This is simply people running some of the largest businesses in our country that employ over 1 million people between them, saying this has real consequences for our country.
One of the key arguments of this referendum will be the prosperity of workers in or out of the EU. The problem for both sides is that businesses and economists don't all agree where the balance of risk lies. For big companies like O2, the EU gives them access to markets and labour that they claim Brexit would deny them.
We benefit from scale, we benefit from the standardisation in the technologies, and so that helps to reduce our cost base and allows us to be more competitive in the UK.
But many smaller companies, like this one in Dorset, say that the EU means red tape that makes them less competitive.
We're competing against the Americans, the Chinese, the Indians, the Australians, who don't have to jump through any of the hoops we have to jump through to stay in business.
I hope very much now that you'll be able to unveil...
Today, the Mayor of London was supporting the Queen, and once again opposing the Prime Minister.
Of course there will be people who try to spread alarm, anxiety. We had much the same sort of thing when the decision came whether or not to join the Euro, and indeed 20 years ago whether or not to leave the ERM. And both occasions, all those same people were wrong.
So David Cameron's placed the economy at the heart of the referendum. How you feel about it might depend on where you work. James Landell, BBC News, Slough.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.